She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Welcome all you beautiful listeners.
Woo.
Why do we feel so much pressure at this time of the year to set huge goals?
Why?
Why? Yes. And when everything in nature is resting and recharging. What if instead of forcing ourselves to start fresh, tackle huge projects, what if we actually honored ourselves, slowed down, honored the winter's wisdom? What would that look like? How is that self-care?
Sounds lovely.
Sounds cozy.
Yes, it does. Sounds like fireside.
We should all have blankets around us right now, ladies.
Well, everyone knows I love the science of things. I love the evolution. How did we get here? That kind of thing. What do we do? What do we naturally do? Just because we are who we are, we're the mammals that we are. I love this part because I think it's, especially in the modern world, we just get so outside of our natural instincts, of our the way we've done things in the past, like ancestrally. And I think that we should consider really what time of year we're in. What are the animals doing? What are we doing? And that this is a time, I'm going to read this little thing. It says, historically, winter was a period of retreat where people gathered around the fire, told stories, rested, and prepared for the coming spring. Our ancestors didn't push forward with the same intensity as in the warmer months. Instead, they honored the season's slower pace, allowing their bodies and minds to regenerate. And then one little last part, in modern times, we often resist the natural rhythm, pushing ourselves to maintain productivity at the same level year-round. However, winter invites us to embrace stillness and self-reflection. So maybe we can talk about, how we can honor this time of year, honor where we are with it, and allow ourselves to actually recharge, rest, take a break, renew our energy, that kind of thing.
I could just hear the collective world going, what? Slow down? No. I can just hear it.
Well, I imagine that when Melissa was talking about it, when we moved to industrialized age, like it was like pulling out the whip at the beginning of the year. It's a new quarter. We have to get this year, meet the numbers. And that's what came to mind. And so we all kind of adapted that same mentality for the new year.
And the modern version of that is all those emails that you received in December. Let's circle back after the new year. Well, people are starting to circle back and people are not ready to be circled back to.
Well, I just want to take you back to 1886. Okay. You want to go on a journey with me?
Let's do it.
Okay. My great-grandparents migrated from they had immigrated from Norway, but they migrated from Minnesota to North Dakota to claim land, right? And they had a team of oxen, a cow, and some sheep. And they got to North Dakota. I'm not sure what time. I don't think it was too. It might have been summertime, but they had no time to build a house. So they dug a hole in the ground, they turned the cart over, and they put sod around it. And that was their home for the first winter in North Dakota. Can you imagine? I don't think they were out doing a lot of stuff. They were probably just looking for buffalo dung to have a fire
Mhm.
in their sod house in the ground. So I think about that's my ancestors, and that's what they were doing during this time of year, 100 and some years ago. And yeah, just to go back to that would be like, it'd be just, it's hard to even think about it, right? To imagine. And my grandpa was 2 years old. So that means he was in diapers. I just don't even know how they did that.
Oh.
Wow.
So just that
That's cool.
slow life. They had no TV, no radio, no nothing. Yeah. So just think about that as we're contemplating this slowing down.
And nature is like triggering us. Nature is helping us. We have less daylight. We have colder
Yeah.
months. We have
Mhm.
colder months.
Very true.
Yeah, we have. And when there's less daylight, there's our melatonin changes, our circadian rhythm changes. So, like, this is really driven by nature, and we're out just like plowing through. Let's do this. And we can take a break from that. I think that's self care. And that's, also letting yourself off the hook a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you said that about how, the days are shorter. It's darker in the mornings when my alarm clock goes off, and I've had much slower mornings, and the ego wants to chime in with judgment about that. But it really, that's just me agreeing with, the chatter in the one mind, like whatever society's rules have imposed upon me. Like, it's really okay that I'm having slower mornings, that I'm a little slower to get out of the bed when it's pitch black in the room and a little bit cold, like, stay under the covers a little bit longer. This is your permission to stay under the covers a little bit longer.
Thanks, Morgan.
So here's a question. What do you think, like this actually honoring the winter, honoring the shorter days, what does that do for us? Like, how does that benefit our bodies, ourselves?
Well, it's
I
just
know.
like, go ahead, Melissa.
I was going to say, I know I got really sick at the end of last month in December. I just kept pushing through, and I got a cold first, and then I got pneumonia, and I think and forced me to stop and rest and relax. And it was also really, I don't think it is I think it's perfectly attuned that we get sick in the winter. Like, we're inside, we're passing around germs, we're not outside as much. And it really did help me slow down when I couldn't on my own. I mean, I don't suggest that for anyone, of course, but yeah, it helped me. It definitely helped me clear my mind out, like over through Christmas and the present giving and all that kind of stuff. It was a reset for me.
So, Melissa, do you think if you would have hit that reset button earlier, would you have not gotten sick
Yes,
or as sick? Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you were swimming upstream.
Yes.
Did you, Melissa, recognize it and just didn't, you kept pressing forward, or did you not take
Well,
time to?
actually, I have a business coach, and she was like, we were supposed to have a couple appointments. She's like, have you thought about just resting? Just possibly, let's take those appointments off our calendar and you just rest. And then let's see how things go for you. And we had like a record month at my company. And honestly, she's like, do you think it had anything to do with you like letting it go? And not being so like hyper on hyperdrive with everything. And so I am seeing that a lot of things happened in my life that were very positive when I let go. That always happens.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Well,
Yes.
and getting sick makes me think about Penny, you're our Ayurveda expert, but there are different things that we need at different times of year to support the functioning of our energy body, our emotional body, our physical body. But I think we don't live in tune with that as much anymore. Is there anything like from an Ayurvedic perspective you could share with us
Well, always eat warm cooked food and
in the
chew your
winter
food
time?
well. Well, always,
Always.
actually. Yeah. And wintertime, actually, interestingly enough, our digestive fire is at its strongest.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the summertime, it's at its weakest. So, like, I love ice cream. It's a good time to eat it in the wintertime, but not in the summertime. And when do we eat ice cream? In the summertime and not in the wintertime. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Now we can eat it year round.
Yeah. If you keep your digestive fire really strong, your Agni, then you can eat it whenever you want. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I can really think of right now is it's always best to eat warm cooked food. Lighter in the winter because winter's heavy. It's a heavy time of the year. And so lighter foods is also good, like soups and things like that. I think that's why we're naturally attracted to soups in the wintertime.
Yeah. And if you think about your body needs different things in the wintertime too. Like you might need more moisturizer in the wintertime. Like, I mean, we're getting signals all the time about what we need. And it's just a matter of if we pay attention to those, like your coach telling you, like, maybe we take a rest versus we just plow through and, you know.
Now we're so used to plowing through though. At least I am. I'm so used to just plowing through.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about body movements now that you say that, Morgan, that, it's so easy to injure yourself in the wintertime. Your body is your bones are so much more fragile during that time of the year as well. And I totally let myself off the hook. I have not been to the gym since the beginning of December. And I am happy for it.
What a far cry from like the hustle culture of like set your New Year's resolutions, get your gym membership going. Like, I remember when like gym memberships used to be at an all-time high in January. I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
Probably is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, it's because, we all set these New Year's resolutions, right? And New Year's resolutions are all about a specific future achievement. And whereas if we just switched our focus to intentions, which is in the present moment, like I'm intending to rest a little bit more this year because, that's what my body needs this time of the year. That it can be intentions are more in alignment with our values, with our present moment, with what's going on right now versus thinking, oh, I want to have that beach baby body by July or June or whatever,
Yeah. Intentions feel much softer and they can inform our goals, that we can kind of like table the goals until springtime when things are blooming and blossoming and awakening.
Yeah.
And don't you think kind of following nature, following this evolutionary, like how we work with nature and what we do, don't you think that that's staying in the present? I do. Like that's really a whole nother tool to help us stay in the present, be really like here and now, taking care of ourselves.
I want to check in with Amanda. I have a question for you, Amanda. So you are in nature with River all the time, year round. How is River different in the wintertime than in the summertime or the other seasons? I'm curious.
Well, first of all, he has this big, snuggly coat, and he feels. I don't never hugged a bear, but that's what bears have soft fur. That's what it feels like. Yeah.
Does
So
he behave any differently? Is he slower? Is he about the same? I'm curious.
I think he is. I have not noticed a behavioral difference as far as that goes, um, except that like nature now is slowing down and it is still on the hunt, right? So there's been mountain lions in the area, right? So like that to protect, to hunker down, to keep close and safe. So the herd is more close. It stays closer to the fence, the barn. Not that they go in the barn, but they stay closer too. So this time is definitely the herd sense of community, protection, and safety. So that's the main things that, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it. And my brain went to, I don't know, but then I'm like, yes, I do know. Yes, I do. If I just slow down and let my internal wisdom start speaking.
Mhm.
So, and that's what, thank you for asking that question.
Well, and I love that you said slow down. Those were the words that you used. If I just slow down, that's how spirit gets in. And like our culture is built in such a way to block so much of that out. We're so busy doing and going that we're missing out on so much of that inspiration that's always coming to us. And so like I don't remember what book it was or what spiritual teacher it was that said this or challenged this, offered this challenge, but like the whole premise was like, how can you slow down more in your day-to-day life? It's just like it's so basic of a question, but it was really kind of groundbreaking for me. Like, oh, you mean instead of multitasking, instead of seeing how much more I can put on my to-do list, on my calendar, I should slow down. I should slow down in the way that I speak. I should just slowing down in every aspect. We've almost been taught that it's a taboo, bad thing to do. And it's actually like if you moved slowly and with intention, you would get so much more meaningful things accomplished in such an inspired and effective, efficient way. And then all of the other bullshit stuff that you really don't even need to be doing anyway would just kind of fall away or sort itself out. Like if we could just move more into the present moment and more into like this kind of molasses way of being. Like I can even feel an energetic difference when I consciously slow down the way that I'm speaking.
I'm going to give you all, Lemonettes, and the listeners a challenge. Just try to walk really slow the next time you go walking, like walking to your car or walking around your house. Really do it intentionally, paying attention to every footstep. It's really challenging. It's really, when I did my yoga teacher training in Kauai, we were there for a month and there was some, can't remember what they call them, the people that travel around and live on farms, Rolfers or something like that. Anyway, it's a thing. You can travel around the world and work on people's farms and not pay anything to be there except with your work. Anyway, one day the two of the women were walking really slow and I thought like, what is wrong with them? And then I think I asked one of the yoginis I was training with, and she said that it was a practice. They were like moving too fast on doing things, and so they had been given the task. Actually, that was part of their daily work was to walk slowly everywhere they went. And it was I for me, I'm a fast walker. People usually have to try to keep up with me. It was kind of eye opening for me. So I love, Morgan, that you brought that up to slow down. We can
Yeah,
slow down in everything.
I just had a major insight from your share. Like when I was visual merchandising at the store in Seaside that I used to work at, I used to have that very fast pace, always moving fast, carrying things. And people would just get right in front of me and move very slowly and block my way. And I would get so impatient and I was judging them like, can't they see how hard I'm working? Can't they see how fast I'm moving? And like, I am seeing now in hindsight that they were my teachers and I didn't recognize it at the time. Like it just blew right past my awareness. And how often are teachers sent to us and we don't see them for that, for what they are? They just blow right past our awareness.
Yeah, I remember the story, Amanda, when you were driving to go ride river and that slow car got in front of you. Just, that's like amazing. Yeah.
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 So I just keep going back to like, what benefit do we get from slowing down? Like, why do that practice? Why do we do it? And especially this time of year.
I think it's a time for introspection and a time to reconnect with yourself. I mean, I can't connect with myself when I'm buzzing around. I mean, I'm like, okay, what am I going to get? Where am I going? What's my shopping list? How, the guy's in front of me is going too slow, all that. So this is a time to connect with myself.
And be still and know that I am God. I mean, that's what just came to me. Yeah.
I know. And Michael Singer talks about, if you want to practice presence, practice and acceptance, practice it first with weather and traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so I would also think like these are really good ways. A why would be to be able to practice being in the present, being able to practice, accepting things just how they are.
Yeah. And also, like, not everything has to have a goal. I saw this girl on TikTok who was crafting a craft that was going nowhere. She was weaving together pieces of trash and it was making something that she had no idea what it was making. And she was like, I have no idea why I'm doing this, but I'm having fun and I'm doing it. And like all the comments were so supportive, like, let's normalize doing things just for the fun of it. Like, not everything has to be to check some box or to hit some achievement or marker. Like, we've lost so much of that. I mean, there's a human desire to weave things and to make things with our hands and to snuggle under a blanket and look at a fire. And you know what I mean? Like, we just always think there has to be a point to what we're doing. And then we miss the point of being.
I love that.
I agree with that, Morgan. Which is why I still resolve to not setting goals. I just don't have them anymore. I take assignments, projects, if there needs to be, timelines for that, for the purpose of completing something. If it has to have it, I will. Other than that, I don't commit to setting goals anymore. And slow is the way, slow and steady.
I have a question about that, Priscilla.
Sure.
Do you feel like, I know this is crazy to ask this question right now. I'm thinking like, do you think you're more productive now that you are setting goals? Right. That is a productive question, but just, I see the irony in it and I still want to know the answer.
So what is the question?
Yeah.
Do you think that you are getting more done now that you're not setting goals? Like, is your life now, does it flow better? Like, what's the difference? How does your everyday life look different now that you are not setting goals?
That I am more productive and I am more productive in how I show up in the world. Not productive in doing. Everything still gets done in my home, everywhere. And it's just that there is the anxiety and the stress is not there.
That's huge.
That's the only thing, there is no difference otherwise. Everything still gets done. There's no pressure to what the timing is. Doesn't mean that I won't get done in that time. Doesn't mean that I won't get done sooner. It's just nothing looming over my head about how I'm going to go about doing it and when I'm going to go about doing it. I'm self-motivated. So why do I need to set goals?
Mhm.
You know,
Like, what was the process of getting there?
especially for myself. That
Yeah.
it makes absolutely no sense for me. It's like setting myself up to be miserable, you know?
So, Drusilla, I mean, that just didn't happen overnight. I mean, this took some
Oh no,
time
I talked
to
about that,
cultivate.
you
Yeah.
on here a few episodes, a few months ago. But I would say over the last 3 or 4 years, I've worked really hard at understanding and making sure that I'm still being a productive citizen, if you will, in the sense that I'm carrying my weight. I am bringing light and love to the universe, and I'm still creating. And in that, I'm making a living. Is there anything else that I should want? Right. And in that, I think, and in that is my way of finding the peace of God, which is my ultimate goal. Because, like Melissa just stated, that's the only way you're ever going to be able to tap in. So, why not just make that the goal in the first place instead of the doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And when we have hard and fast goals, it's like there's no flexibility in that because we all have had, you know, an idea that we would do something and then somewhere along the way we completely changed course. But you like almost punish yourself if you have like a really hard goal or deadline or outcome that you're after. It doesn't leave room for inspiration and like shifting and changing and adapting and stuff.
Yeah, I actually even have had that conversation with the CEOs, the network that he was talking about for the new projects that I'm working on. I'm like, I just had to explain how I operate, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit in meetings for the sake of setting all of these goals that we know are going to shift and change. Why not be fluid? Why not allow for some creativity? We know we're going to have deadlines that we have to meet, but that may be 4 months out. So why are we setting all of these, deadlines every day just to have people worked up and minimizing their creativity instead of allowing more fluidity in the whole process? And I genuinely think you come out with better solutions, better projects, better everything, and people feel better about it.
Yeah.
You
That's so
know,
funny. This
I,
audio
I
book that
I've literally had people that worked on my last project that have done tons of films, and they said they've never been on a set like that before, but they've never been on a better set before because I took out all the stress of just this bang, bang, bang. I took it away. It's like we're here to just enjoy, to deliver some art and to feel it when we're delivering, right? To feel the moment, to experience it. And it just was an amazing feeling for people, and yeah, so I just learned a lot from that helped, and it helped that I was the driver of the car, right? So going into other situations with other people, I feel like I just need to set the tone and the precedence that I'm accustomed to working this way, and I enjoy it, and I trust that other people will feel better, and we will all be rewarded for working a little differently than what they might have assumed it was going to be.
Priscilla, when you were speaking, it's like the feeling that I got was like liberating myself from that loop of failure, right? Like, cause
Yeah.
I guess the fear of failure
Yes.
so like I can like take a deep breath, like now that, like that fear is being lifted. It's amazing, not buying into that habitual thought of failure. Wow.
Yeah, what I wanted to share is I was just listening in on an audiobook my husband is listening to, and they were talking, it's just like all about films in the 70s. And they were talking about the production of Jaws and how they went like, I think the budget was 2.5 million and they went over it by 3.5 times. In the end, it ended up being like over $10 million to make the film. He insisted on shooting out in the open water instead of in a tank, which increased production time and cost. And it was supposed to take 4 months to film, and it took like 11 months to film. And like just the stress that it created for the director, for the producers, for everyone involved in the process. And it ended up being the biggest blockbuster hit up until that time. So going back to Penny's question, it's like the result may not shift that much, but you just take the stress out of the equation, which is exactly what Drusilla said. So just bringing it all back around.
And you stay present through the process.
Yeah.
Present, yes.
And that's where all the creativity, you're always out there somewhere else in the future, the outcome. How are you present with the creativity and the flow?
Mm-hmm.
And all this comes from honoring, right? Like honoring ourselves, slowing down a little bit. Like it's nice to remind ourselves like why we're having this conversation. Because right now for us, it's cold and it's dark.
And I love it all, but I just wonder, I just have to ask Drusilla, like what happens if you guys got off course? How did you course correct? I mean, that's real life, maybe. I don't know,
Oh, we did, but it was every day. But I already knew that. Like if you set the tone that we're not going to freak out, right?
Okay.
Because someone didn't show up. And after a while, everybody else started doing the same thing I did. It was like, you have so much trust in source is not going to let you down. So they stopped freaking out too. And if something went wrong, they would say, you know what we can do, Drusilla? So it wasn't even all on me anymore. It just becomes this big fest of creativity and nobody's pissed off and nobody's mad because somebody didn't show up. It just becomes so much more productive and so much more creative, That's what I experienced.
It's like if you grew up in a household where you broke a cereal bowl, did you get yelled at, or was it just not really that big of a deal? It's kind of like you're the parent on the set who's like, oh, no big deal. We've got other bowls, You don't spank them.
Yeah, it literally was that way. I mean, there were tons of mistakes, tons of things that didn't happen or didn't go the way they should. But I think everybody just felt the energy of being free, and it just became so much more productive. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Very helpful. So maybe let's think about what's a goal that we can let go of. Not that we have to share it in this episode, but just as like a homework assignment, something to put on your to-do list. What's a goal you can let go of, or something you can take off your to-do list this week, if that's easier?
Or an awareness, just having an awareness when your body and you and your everything is saying, slow down, go to sleep.
Yeah, like last night at one point, I just was overwhelmed with exhaustion. Like it was time for bed. And so what did I do? I got ready for bed and I went to bed.
Oh, that's a big deal for you, Penny. I know you talked about that before.
It's really big. Yeah. We have a cat named Charlie. She's an indoor-outdoor cat. And it is amazing to watch her. She is in the house so much now. Like we're going, what is going on with Charlie? She wants to, and she comes and she wants to snuggle with us. In the summertime, that cat, we don't see her for days. because she is out having fun, catching whatever she can catch and enjoying life. She rarely comes in to eat because she's living off the land, but it's so amazing to watch the transformation. So yeah, just to watch her. She's in the house. She wants in, never wants in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lessons from Charlie.
Yeah.
Settle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are our favorite slow down practices? We've heard Penny's of just walking slow, being mindful. Morgan said find something to take off your to-do list. What are some other favorite things to slow down this time of year?
Morgan also said do something that doesn't have something meaningless, something that doesn't have an end goal in mind. That's beautiful.
Mine is waking up a little later. I'm always like, let's get up and get going. And I have been all winter, I've been just like, I have not set an alarm. I just wake up when I wake up. And it's been really nice.
That's big for you too, Melissa.
Journaling too. I know all of
Journaling.
us, some of us have started journaling again, even more. And for me, the darkness and it just more interest. I have more introspection right now.
How about you, Amanda?
I have when my body feels like it, I'll do is it called restorative yoga or yin yoga, where you get in a nice pose and you breathe, and it's just really gentle. It's slow. And it's so funny. I didn't think about it until we had this conversation, but I am drawn to more slow, gentle, easy things. Yeah.
Yoga Nidra, I think, is what you're talking about. Yeah. It is okay to slow down, right?
It's self-care.
It is self-care. It is self-care. Yeah. So let's try to slow down in every area of our life, right?
Post-its.
What were you saying, Melissa? I'm sorry.
If you need an excuse, blame it on the season.
Yeah.
Or Charlie. Charlie's my spirit animal now.
I'll take a picture and send it to you guys. She's great. Yeah. And so, we're all, maybe some of us, not all of us, but we're starting to practice presence, right? So when we want to start practicing presence and acceptance, practice it first with traffic and weather. I loved when you said that, Melissa, even though Michael Singer said it, but I love that you reminded us of that. And then, the ultimate goal is is finding the peace of God. So let's just go right there and let's just find that versus all this other shit that we're working on, right? Yeah. Wow. Another beautiful episode, ladies. I love it. Who would have thought that practicing self-care in the winter would be such a profound session for us? It's been really eye-opening for me. And it's been just lovely hearing about everybody's thoughts on that, because we're so indoctrinated to speed up as the new year, to do more and achieve more. So we're going to take the opposite approach this year, and we're slowing down, and we invite you all to slow down with us. So with that, have a really beautiful rest of your day. We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.